Hand position in the handstand walk and in the handstand push-up is really important and can make a big difference on how the handstand push-ups go for you. Let's talk about it. So first is going to be thinking about how much extension you have in your wrist. This is an area that a lot of people lack. And two things are going to be really problematic when we lack that wrist extension, and this is why hand position can be a great way to work around that. When I'm lacking wrist extension, the ability to do this, a lot of folks are really limited here, and that might be all they have. What that means is now, because of my limited wrist extension, I'm not going to be able to get into shoulder extension, right? Because this is limited, my shoulder can't come forward anymore. If that's the case, that means I'm going to have to be really broken here, right? When I go upside down, I'm going to be stuck here versus being able to go like this and get my head more stacked and my wrists under my shoulders, right? So that's where that wrist extension becomes really important. And if you don't have it, there's that trickle upstream effect where it makes the rest of your body take a beating in the handstand. Obviously, we want to work on that quality, but one of the simple things you can do right away to have a big impact is simply turning your hands out, right? Now, instead of having this block when I go to extend my wrist and move forward and say a walk or a handstand push-up with my head going forward, now when I turn out a little bit, I've got all this more room to move, right? When you go ahead and try this out when you have a chance, move your wrist towards your middle finger and then move your wrist towards your thumb and see how much more freedom and less restriction you have there. So A, it's going to allow you to get in a more stacked position overhead versus being here. And then B, it's going to allow you to take a little bit longer strides when you walk. Whereas if you were straight, middle finger straight ahead, you're going to run into that compression issue at the wrist where you're lacking extension. By turning it out, you buy yourself a lot more angle and you can take some bigger strides. Play around with your hand position in that handstand walk and see how much better it feels. When it comes to the handstand push-up, same idea applies. A lot of folks have a hard time getting into a tripod where their head is out in front of their hands simply because, again, they lack that wrist extension. Whereas they go down, they're here, right? Their elbows can't stay stacked, so automatically it's going to be much harder to put your head out here when your elbows are back. You're going to want to go much more straight down. So again, turning out will allow for that a lot more comfortably. So again, simply turn the hands out a little bit and see how you feel.